So it's been a minute since my last GTA 6 video, and I wanted to talk about this. Apparently, GTA 6 is falling behind in development. I believe this was initially reported by Kotaku, and apparently they spoke to and knew some people who were involved in the development process of GTA 6. Now, a little before this, it was reported that Rockstar was trying to get everybody back into the offices physically instead of doing work remotely to prevent leaks and hacks and all that, because that's been happening a lot recently, especially with GTA 6. We still got some time before the game comes out, but it seems getting closer and closer to the launch. They want to have a tighter grip on the game, make sure nothing gets out that isn't supposed to. Now, if it's true that the game is falling behind in development, I'm not entirely sure if it's due to the fact that people are trying to switch over into the physical offices, or there are people who don't want to do it because they were hired remotely. If either of those are the case, I still don't think that GTA 6 should get delayed, and if it is going to get delayed, they already took that into account with setting the 2025 release date. Because you gotta look at how the game's been in development for this long. The game might have not been in development for the full 10 years that GTA 5 has been out, but it's still been in development, I assume, for a long time. Now, I do have to mention that Rockstar does have a history of delaying their games. With GTA 5, I think they pushed it back like 6 months, and for Red Dead 2, they delayed it like a full year. Now, it's possible GTA 6 will be an exception for two reasons. One, GTA 6 will be the next installment into a series 10 years after the previous installment. So you could argue that they had more time to make GTA 6 compared to other games like Red Dead 2 or GTA 5, even if they didn't use the whole 10 years that GTA 5 has been out. The next reason being that Rockstar has to realize that this game is not like any other game that they're making. Even Red Dead Redemption 2, even GTA 5. This game has been 10 years in the making. Not actually, but, we like to say that a lot. As far as it comes to the fans and the players, it's been 10 years in the making. As soon as GTA 5 dropped, people were like, okay, what can GTA 6 do to be way better than this? All eyes are on them right now. So if they push back the game, that might stir up some controversy, a little doubt in the game. But then again, it's Rockstar, so if they push back the game, it means they had to push back the game. We see that with Red Dead Redemption 2, we saw that with GTA 5. Last year, with one of Rockstar's earnings calls, they said that they were supposed to make about $8 billion in revenue by the end of fiscal year 2025, which ends in April of 2025. So when you take that and the fact that the game was announced to come out in 2025, it had most people thinking that GTA 6 would drop in March or April of 2025. But if the game is going to be pushed back, if that's true, then it's possible we'll see it in fall of next year. Hopefully that's worst case scenario, but of course if the game needs to be pushed back, then the game's got to be pushed back. We don't want a half-baked game. We don't want another Cyberpunk 2077 situation where the game could have been what it could have been if they pushed it back a little more. We've waited this long already. If the game's got to be pushed back to be what it's supposed to be when it comes out, then we can wait a little bit longer. Now, next up, I do want to talk about the game possibly running at 30 frames a second, even on the PS5 Pro that's rumored to come out. In my last GTA 6 video, I also talked about how apparently the PS5 Pro was supposed to be where GTA 6 runs the best, even compared to the new Xbox that would come out. But starting a few weeks ago, some tech experts started to say that GTA 6 wouldn't even be able to run 60 frames on the PS5 Pro. Which is crazy to think, because it makes you think about how big the game is supposed to be when the game won't even be able to run on a more powerful console than the PS5 or the Xbox Series X. We know that on PC, whenever the game drops on there, that it'll be able to run the game on 60 frames fine, but for consoles, that's a whole different story. If the game does run at 30 frames a second on the PS5 and the PS5 Pro, it will suck, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, it's GTA 6. We're going to play the game regardless. You're going to have some people saying they're not going to buy the game because the game's been in development for 10 years. And why couldn't they get the game to run at 60 frames, even on a more powerful console than the PS5 or the Series X? But if they couldn't do it, then they couldn't do it. Yeah, it's possible that they want to hold out on the 60 frames until the PS6 or whatever the new Xbox is comes out. But I don't know. Lack of frames doesn't turn me away from a game, because for me personally, it doesn't take away from the story and everything. For some people it may, but for me, I can still enjoy a game if it runs at 30. Though it doesn't take anything away from the experience, I do think it does add to the experience a little bit more. For example, Gotham Knights. The game ran at 30 frames and it would dip a lot from that. But if it ran at 60 and dipped into the low 50s, then the game would have been a little bit better, in my opinion. Though I enjoyed the game when I played it when it came out, and I still do, the game would have been, in my opinion, a little bit more enjoyable if it had 60 frames. That may sound contradictory, you know, me saying that it doesn't take anything away from the experience, but if it has 60 frames, it does add to the experience a little bit. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Just overall, the amount of frames the game has doesn't define what the game is and what it can be. It just shows that they couldn't get the game to run at a steady 60 frames. That, or they didn't want to put in the effort to get it to a 60 frames, or they want to save it until the PS6 comes out. Hopefully the latter isn't the case and they just couldn't run the game at 60 due to the hardware capacity. But with all that being said, I do understand people's frustrations with a game running at 60, I mean running at 30, because you are paying $70, maybe more for a game, and for GTA 6's case, you waited like 10, 11 years for the game to come out and it can't even run at 60. I get some people's thoughts. What I think is, if a person doesn't want to buy a game because it runs at 30, not at 60, then it's fine. It's their money. They can choose to spend their money however they want. You don't need to really get on them. If you're okay with the 30 frames, then that's good. You know, you can prefer 60 and still play 30 like me, but if somebody just prefers a 60 and doesn't want to play 30, then you don't really, you know. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Will GTA 6 be delayed into 2026, or maybe it'll be pushed back to late 2025? And will GTA 6 be running at 30 frames a second, even on the PS5 Pro? Let me know what you think. Like the video if you like, subscribe. See you in the next one.